Hey everyone. So, have you ever had one of those brilliant ideas and just wished you could, snap your fingers and have a robot build it for you? Well, today we're going to dive into how that's actually becoming a real thing, and it all comes down to one simple idea: learning how to talk to the robot.
I mean, just picture it. You've got this amazing idea, and this little helper bot is just sitting there, ready to go. And that future, it's way closer than you might think. But there's a catch, a really big one we have to solve first. How do we get that perfect, crystal clear vision out of our heads and into a machine's brain so it understands exactly what we want?
And that question, well, that brings us to what I like to call the castle conundrum. Let's break this down with a really simple example. Imagine you're just hanging out, building with some Lego, and your helper is a robot. So you turn to your robot buddy and you just say, "Hey, make a castle." Easy enough, right? In your mind, you're picturing something epic, But from the robot's point of view, what could possibly go wrong here? And yep, this is exactly where things go off the rails. See, your idea of an epic castle has all these grand towers, maybe a cool flag flapping in the wind. But to the robot, castle is just a word. It has zero context for your awesome vision. So what you get back is, well, it's a total crapshoot, and it's almost definitely not what you were imagining. And look, the key thing to get here is that the robot isn't stupid. It's not that at all. It's just missing the recipe. The problem isn't the robot's building skills, it's our communication skills. But okay, don't worry, there is a solution to this whole communication mess, and it's a little something called a spec. This is the secret sauce. It's the key to getting that robot to build precisely what's in our heads.
So spec is just short for specification. Think of it as the ultimate super detailed recipe that our robot has been begging for. And this isn't a suggestion, okay? It's a crystal clear, step-by-step plan that leaves absolutely no room for guesswork.
This is how we do it. This is how we turn that fuzzy idea into something the robot can actually work with. So instead of just yelling, "Make a castle," the new instruction is a list of rules. It must have 4 towers. It must have a red flag. It must have a big door. See that? We just went from a vague wish to a solid blueprint. Okay, so our robot has its recipe now. It's got the blueprint. How does it actually use it? Well, the process is actually super logical. It's beautiful, really. What the AI does is it follows this simple but incredibly powerful loop. First, it reads one part of the spec. Then, it builds that one part. And then, and this is the absolute most important step, it checks its work against the spec. Then, it just does that over and over and over again until the whole thing is finished. But hold on. Let's zoom in on that third step, check the spec. What does that actually mean? Because this isn't just a quick peek. This is where the magic happens. This is the real intelligence of the whole system. So what is the robot really doing when it checks? It's basically asking itself a bunch of questions, constantly comparing what it just built to that original recipe. It's thinking, wait, is this flag red? The spec said it had to be red. Are these towers tall enough? Every single piece, every detail gets checked against that blueprint. It's like a nonstop quality control process.
All right, so building a Lego castle with a robot is a fun little thought experiment. But what's the point? What does this have to do with the real world? Well, it turns out this simple analogy is the perfect way to understand a huge, game-changing shift that's happening in tech right now.
And here it is. This is the big reveal. The Lego castle, that's a computer program. Your super detailed spec, that's the plan a software developer writes up. And our little robot builder, well, that's a real thing called Spec-Based AI. It's an AI that can build incredibly complex software just by following a detailed plan. And you guys, this is a total game changer. For real, it means that developers can spend their brainpower focusing on the what, as in, what should this program do, instead of getting bogged down in the how, the thousands and thousands of lines of code it takes to make it happen. They just provide that perfect recipe, and the AI takes care of all the heavy lifting. So, here's the big takeaway for you. The next time you build some IKEA furniture or follow a recipe to cook dinner, just remember this. You're basically practicing the core logic of spec-based design. You're thinking like a top-tier AI developer, turning a detailed plan into a real thing. How cool is that? And that leaves us with one last big question to think about. If you had an AI like this, one that could build anything, as long as you gave it the perfect recipe, what huge problem would you try to solve? What would your spec even look like? Just think about it. The possibilities are absolutely mind-blowing. Thanks for hanging out with me today.